Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Daurio,
on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, our in-studio guests this morning are Dr. May Lynn Tao, and she is a radiation oncologist.
That's right.
From City of Hope, and with her is Suzanne Gutterman, who is a physician relations liaison. Yes. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome to both of you.
welcome.
Thank you.
And Dr. Tao, what is a radiation oncologist? What do you do?
First and foremost, we're oncologists, which are cancer specialists.
Right, yeah.
And in the cancer arena, there are many doctors actually that are involved in the diagnosis, treatment, follow-up of cancer patients. But the three doctors that are primarily involved in making decisions about therapy are surgeons or surgical oncologists, sometimes called a breast surgeon if we're talking about breast cancer, a medical oncologist who talks to you about drug therapy primarily, like chemotherapy or oral pill therapy, and a radiation oncologist who talks to you about how the modality of radiation may or may not be useful for treatment of your cancer. So that's what I do.
Whoa, that's quite a job.
Well, we have plenty of partners to do it with, so it's all good.
Lots of help.
Yeah.
You all work together.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
So specifically, our listeners are, they get a cancer. They know that the modalities of treatment could be chemotherapy. It could be radiation. It could be surgical.
Right.
Who is it that makes that decision for them? Certainly, I'm a primary care physician. I'm not going to be the one that turns around and says, this is what you're going to get. I send my patients to specialists at City of Hope. And, at some point, somebody says, this is what is tried and true, and let's go in this direction. Where do they get that direction from?
Yeah. So a lot of it depends at what point along the way in their diagnosis to decision making to actually treatment is. So to make the diagnosis, you typically need some kind of tissue specimen. So oftentimes the initial physician is the surgeon because they're the ones that obtain that tissue specimen, whether it's a biopsy or whether or not it's a true full excision of the actual area of concern. And then it's really pulling in the disciplines that can collaborate in a multidisciplinary fashion. In fact, we have formal settings called tumor boards in which this is formalized. All disciplines are represented, even if they're not necessarily your patient, and it's thoroughly discussed in terms of what's going to make the most sense for this patient, both with regards to what the evidence says, because clinical trials are designed to look at this, but also taking into consideration factors like what's the functional status of somebody, what's the likelihood they're going to be able to come in and out for treatment, what's the likelihood they're going to be able to withstand, let's say, a major surgery if that's part of it, or major drug therapy. So all of those are together collectively considered in what the modality ultimately is going to be.
So I think our listeners are saying, hey, this is great because not one person makes the decision, but it's also not that it's a, let's flip a coin team decision. This is the treatment is based upon research and what we call evidence-based.
Right.
And that comes from around the world. And City of Hope has access to all the research that's taking place for patients everywhere, and they're looking for statistically the best outcomes.
Right.
And so, it's you have tumor boards. Everybody sits down and they give a description of the patient, how things were found in the biopsy, and they show the pathology on the board, and then everybody gets a turn to try to figure out what would be the best treatment and give their supporting evidence for that. So it's not haphazard. And I think our patients are sitting there going, they did radiation treatment on me and they caused this and that. And it's not that way at all.
Right.
So our listeners, have to understand that, we're not trying to, take money from you or take advantage of you and make you disabled or cause you problems and side effects. We're trying to figure out the best way that you can be treated. So they come in and they go to tumor board, and at some point they turn around and say, it's your turn, and you're going to get radiation. What happens at that point? What you come into the scene and you discuss with the patient your method and your treatment plan.
Right. So I like to take a wide view too whenever I see a patient. So that's when you asked me earlier what I do as a radiation oncologist. I think I began it by saying first we have to consider ourselves as oncologists. So I like to, despite the fact that we're often considered a very tertiary subspecialist, sort of we have this like one fancy machine, how are we going to point the gun kind of thing. I like to first step back and look at the whole situation. So how did the person present? Did they come in with a lot of support? Did they come in needing a lot of help just even to get through the door? Because that really will impact what kinds of treatment we can recommend and whether they're even likely to be able to complete it. Because you can recommend something in an ideal world, but if it's not feasible, if it's just not going to happen, then it's really it's not realistic, and it's not not a true recommendation.
It's interesting that you say that because I had cancer, close to 4th stage cancer. It was lymphoma, and it was as a result, in my opinion, of taking methotrexate for 6 years, 1 shot a week.
For another problem.
For arthritis.
Right.
And which worked fine. However, when they stopped taking it because they quit making it for 4 months, I suffered severe indigestion, and I never get indigestion. And I thought, something's not right. So I went to the doctor, and he did a CAT scan and told me I had cancer and referred me to Dr. Black, UCLA.
Right.
And it's interesting because he put me on the chemotherapy treatments, but it was so nice because so many of my friends took time to come with me and sit with me, because when you're sitting in there for 4 hours at a time, it's very lonely and it's very scary, because here's all this garbage dripping in you. And granted, the chemotherapy cured the cancer, but it also played Dickens with the rest of the organs in my body.
Right, other havoc.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of after effects from going through chemo, and I'm assuming there are also side effects if you're going under radiation.
Right. So, as Dr. Dorio is saying, not only do we make the decision when we go through the process that you just described of why you're going to need this, what are the benefits, and what are the trade-offs, meaning the side effects or some of the havoc that it may cause. But there's a whole piece of supportive care that isn't a separate discipline, but I see it as part and parcel to what happens when we deliver care, is that we need to support patients through it. I'm not even talking about just psychological or emotional support and making sure that they have what they need outside of the office, meaning extension at home or other kinds of ancillary services, but just understanding what are the issues in terms of expected side effects from the treatment. Probably the most ubiquitous side effect that most patients will say they have at least a bit of is just a generalized fatigue.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because radiation in general is considered a relatively focal therapy, unlike drug therapy, which is ingested or given through the vein and it goes through your entire body, typically through the bloodstream. Radiation is a focused beam, essentially. But one of the generalized symptoms that it does cause is fatigue. And it's variable. Some people can essentially feel minimal fatigue and really have no change in their functional status, and some people are profoundly affected. And it's not necessarily predictable, although older folks do tend to, have it more.
It's interesting because one of my side effects was I didn't want to eat anything.
Yeah.
And I lost quite a bit of weight.
Right.
And Dr. Black said, you have to eat.
Yeah.
You have to force yourself to eat. And along with,
Yeah, you feel
absolute
depleted.
Total,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for the friends in the club I belonged to, they cooked for us. They brought over 2 meals a day for us, and kept me company, and helped out so much. And it's really critical when you're going through something like that you do have a support system.
Yeah.
It is extremely critical, because you feel like you're all alone, and it's just happening to me and nobody else, but you have those feelings, isolation,
Yeah.
type thing.
Right.
And I think that's normal.
So I spend a lot
Everyone
of
goes
time
through
talking to folks about anticipating what may happen. And it's not only mental preparation, because if we know it's going to hit, we somehow can sort of manage it better, both psychologically and if we're
Yes.
physically prepared to, because we've arranged our lives and such, we're going to manage a little better than
Right.
if it just sort of comes to you and you didn't know that this was coming sideways. So we spend a lot of time, what I call just setting expectations, preparing yourself for what you're going to experience and what kind of help you're going to need, and some of the emotional roller coaster that you're going to be on.
Right.
A lot of patients will describe right after treatment they actually have depression. It's sort of like postpartum depression. They feel like when you go somewhere, because radiation is given on a daily basis, every day, you get that emotional lift and that support just from being in the office and having people rally around you. But then you go home, and particularly if you don't have a lot of folks at home, there's no one really taking care of you. You're sort of feeling like, here I am out on my own, as you indicated. So some people will go through depression after treatment, even if they're physically recovering.
And let's talk a little bit about functional status before the treatment, because some people are already depressed when they go into the treatment.
Yes.
And they're depressed because now they know they have cancer. They have had no appetite. They've lost weight maybe.
Right.
They could have lost a spouse, or living in a situation that is not right now conducive for them, or not like it used to be before. And also seeing functionally they just can't get around like they used to, maybe because of the cancer and maybe not. How do you look at functional status, and then how do you look at the hope that goes along giving them, purpose for the future?
Right. So sometimes the little things go a long way. So it's thinking about, like, okay, what kinds of support do you have at home? Or if you have either no or limited support, how can we kind of bridge that? And sometimes it may have to do with simply like, what time of the day is the appointment? I may just say, oh, someone will schedule you, versus, okay, let's look at what's happening at your house and how we can optimize that. A lot of older folks, for example, can't take an 8 a.m. appointment. There's no
That's
way,
very
there's
true.
not a prayer that they're going to make that 8 a.m. appointment. So if you give that person an 8 a.m. appointment, you tell them, I give them that appointment every day they're late. There's probably a reason. It's probably not willful neglect on their part.
No,
They're
absolutely
late.
not.
So simple things like that. We do also extend services in our office to provide transportation for folks that were not able to arrange some kind of public or foundation kind of services for transport. So we do provide that, understanding that there are some folks that really, really need that. There's a lot of, going back to evidence-based medicine, there's a lot of research that's being done about how can we foreshorten the course of treatment without increasing the side effects. And some of that has to do with technically how you deliver the treatment. But there's also a lot of information that what we used to think needed to be given at a very slow pace could actually be given in what we call an accelerated pace, and patients surprisingly actually sometimes do better, because a lot of the toll, I think, from the treatment is just having to come in every single day and be under beam, as we call it, and experience that. For someone who's just functionally compromised, it's hard to sometimes just get out of the house every day and drive the 5 miles or whatever it is and come and go back.
And
that in
that's-
itself may
that's-
be a chore.
And that's why it's so important to have that support system.
Right.
It literally saved me. It really did, because these ladies would come over, pick me up, stay with me, and bring me back home. And it was wonderful. It really
Yeah.
was. I don't know what I would have done without them.
Well, one of the interesting things I've noticed is that in our, I call it our internal waiting room, which is those patients who are under treatment will wait, before they go into the room to get treatment. There develops this whole mini community in that waiting room.
That's very
where they
true.
all know each other, and they literally become not only friends while they're on treatment, they connect and they stay connected for years afterwards.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's
Yeah.
like being in the service, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah, what
Like
you've been
you,
through binds you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Binds you.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah, when you go through a traumatic event in your life, those people who have been with you stay with you regardless.
Yeah.
And it's really an incredible experience.
The
And
the other part of this is what you had food and services brought to you as well. But one of the big problems is transportation, and we have Circle of Hope here in Santa
That's
Clarita, which
right.
has been helpful, and we're getting other entities out there, and I think UCLA and you guys at City of Hope are using the Ubers and the Lyfts and things like that to get our patients there as well, because that was a big factor.
yes.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard for our seniors to get up, but most of my seniors are, come off the farm, and they, the sun comes up and they're awake. So they don't have trouble with the timing of it like some of our students do, and they want to start. Governor Brown's going to sign that bill or not, whether they're going to go to school at 8:30 or not. I don't think they would do that for our seniors, because our seniors would say no, we're not going to do that. But transportation has been a problem.
Yeah.
And I think here in Santa Clarita and with the county, we're solving that with the taxi services and the other modalities that we have, and Circle of Hope. I think that's made a huge difference.
Oh, it has. Definitely has.
Yeah.
It definitely has. It's amazing the numbers of areas that you specialize in. Breast cancer, prostate cancer, brain tumors, lung cancer, rectal cancer, head and neck cancer, and skin cancer. Do you have many patients in these different areas?
So I think the important thing is that we serve the community. And these are actually the most common cancers that occur in
Interesting.
our general population. Breast, prostate, lung, rectal, head and neck. These are all common cancers.
And
we
skin cancer.
Skin cancer in Southern California is
yes.
abound.
It is rampant. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
true.
So if you truly service the community, then you have to be able to have the expertise to be able to address all of these. At one point in my life, when I was in academics, I was able to just sort of focus in on female cancers and pediatric cancers. And fortunately, a lot of that experience, particularly in female cancers, is still very applicable to what I do on a daily basis, because breast cancer is so common. But you really have to be able to handle, all the common cancers that come through the door. So.
That's amazing. I have to give you credit. That is incredible to be able to do that and go through all of the training that you have gone through. That's amazing. That
Yeah.
is wonderful. And I really congratulate you for doing that. That is incredible.
Well, it's no less than what a primary care physician has to do. I mean, they have a wider berth.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Because those patients come to a primary care physician undiagnosed. So you have to be able to say, like, picking out from being able to have the judgment to know what you just said or what you're experiencing, something is really wrong and I need to go down this very specialized track. So patients generally, when they come to us, are declared as already having a certain diagnosis. So it's, there's a lot of lead work that's already been done.
Just like what happened to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've got it again.
Yeah.
But I beat it once. I'm going to beat it again.
Yes.
No uncertain terms.
Fortitude.
Absolutely.
Resilience.
Positiveness.
That actually stuns me about patients.
Well, it's so nice to have you.
Thank you.
And I hope you come back again soon, because there's a wealth of information in your head and in your body and all over you. Dr. Tal, thank you very much for joining
Thanks
us.
for being on our show.
Thank you both. Thank
Yes, I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host on your hometown station, KHTS.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
The stress was unbelievable.
Debbie Morris is a changed woman.
A giant boulder's been lifted.
Debbie called Made for You.
I'd finished a day of work.
Professional, residential, and commercial cleaning.
Walk into my house.
Made for You.
It was an absolute pigsty.
Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning.
Our mess kept growing.
255-2922.
Even when we weren't home.
255-2922.
Made for You rescued me.
La Esmeralda is home to truly authentic Mexican food. This family-owned restaurant prides itself on its fresh-to-order menu. Even the tortillas are made in-house. If you have a taste for sizzling fajitas, flautas, or menudo, you have to try La Esmeralda's Mexican and Seafood Restaurant. Dine in or order out for the most authentic Mexican food Santa Clarita has to offer. Their Taco Tuesdays, it'll turn you into a regular. La Esmeralda on Bouquet at Haskell.
Join City of Hope today in the fight against cancer. Make a difference by participating in City of Hope's Together for Hope, presented by Antelope Valley Hospital and High Desert Medical Group on Saturday, September 15th. Be a part of this inaugural event in partnership with City of Hope Antelope Valley and show your support toward groundbreaking research to treat and cure cancer. They welcome everyone to their 2K walk, 5K run in honor of the individuals in our lives affected by cancer. City of Hope, the miracle of science with soul. Join the movement today by registering at togetherforhope.org.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM-1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Daurio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And our guest now is one of the sponsors of the Senior Hour, and she is Nola Aronson from Advanced Audiology. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Other than being tired and worn out and overextended, been there, done that.
Yeah, I know you have, Barbara.
Not anymore.
Well, now it's time to enjoy your life.
That's exactly right, and that's what I'm doing.
That's great.
I do very little volunteering, although I still do because I want to. But and tell us about the event that you sponsored.
Which one?
We just the one.
right.
Didn't we just have one?
Dancing with Our Stars?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So they raised a lot of money for Dancing with Our Stars. I forget, but it was a lot. I forget how much
I remember
it was.
reading in the paper, and I was astonished. What?
Yeah, they did a great job. This was Alex Hafizi's first year doing it. His parents handed it over to him, and him and Arnold Bryant, his partner, did a fantastic job, I thought. It was very organized. Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
It was really, really organized.
It's the first one I've missed since it's been going on.
Yeah. It was really nice. The reason that I sponsored it is because there were 20 nonprofits there. Some I haven't never even heard of. I mean, we have so many
they're involved.
in the Santa Clarita Valley. But I thought if I was a sponsor, then I would be sponsoring all the nonprofits, so I wouldn't have to choose which nonprofit I was going to
No
sponsor,
favoritism.
because, I sponsor, the senior center. I sponsor the Boys and Girls Club, and the Circle of Hope, and the, who else was there that I normally would sponsor? I can't remember
Is it
all of them.
Vine to Wine? No, not that.
No, that's Circle
That's the
Hope.
rooftop thing. Aren't you
That's-
sponsoring
no.
something on the roof?
No,
No?
that's the Wish Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Well,
your
I saw you-
involvement.
But this weekend is a big weekend because I'm sponsoring two things this weekend. I'm sponsoring the Latino Gala.
Yes.
That
I saw
is
your name
Saturday
in it.
night.
Yes.
And I'm also sponsoring the Motown for the Senior Center on Sunday night. Are you guys going to that?
No.
No? It's going to be fun. Zoni Gordon always puts on a great event. Every year I'm a sponsor, and it's a great event, and it's lots of fun and dancing and, from Motown. So, and it's a good cause, our senior center. And Kevin from the senior center was telling me that, they've gotten the framework done and everything, and he could give me a tour, the framework of the new senior center. And he could give me a tour, and I can see my room.
When
in
are
the
you going to
senior
do that?
center.
Yeah, when are you going to do that?
I just have to call him, and he'll give me a tour.
Oh, you'll have to wear a hard hat, which will be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin and I were up there over the weekend, but of course we couldn't get on the grounds until we picked the lock. And so, but the walls are more than just up. They were starting to put the tile on the roof.
Oh, wow.
So it's moving right along.
Yeah.
For us to have some events there.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that next year we could have the Circle of Hope Vine to Wine there.
Oh,
That's
I'm
what
sure
hoping.
that
We're
I'm
planning
sure.
to have a lot of things there.
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
year.
there will be. I think organizations will be moving away from the Hyatt.
Yeah. Well, the Hyatt, and we did it at Cal Arts again this year. And
Oh yes.
How fun.
that's not a really good venue for that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, I don't know. I kind of disagree with you because there's a lot of room there, and there was room to move around,
It's
which
definitely
is what,
different.
and that's critical to me.
Yeah, the problem
because-
is the echoing in the room.
well,
that
is
But
because
I
it's a
just
gym.
I just adjust my hearing aid. No echoing.
Yeah, right. Well, there is some exciting news in the hearing aid world
good.
that just came out this week, and I was able to fit 3 patients already yesterday. I got trained on this new product, and 2 of them were experienced users, and they couldn't believe the difference in this hearing aid. So it is the first true artificial intelligent hearing aid. We have another one that was by a company called Widex. And that,
Artificial intelligence hearing
in other
aid?
words, information goes up into the cloud, and you're able to store information of how you use your hearing aid and what happens, and then they're able to take that and get information and research to make hearing aids even better. So what happened is, the original one came out, the first one came out in April by a company called Widex, but now a company named Starkey, which is the only all-American made hearing aid company, came out with one yesterday. Now this hearing aid, it's so amazing. It not only tracks your steps, your heart rate. You will not have to use a Fitbit anymore.
What?
Yes. And it measures your brain activity to see how you're doing in your listening environments and how your brain is functioning. So, you know how we talked about the brain is what hears, not just the ears, and that if you have a hearing loss and you miss so much information over time, you're more prone to getting Alzheimer's and dementia. So now, through this hearing aid, you're able to measure that involvement of how you listen, what kind of listening environments you're in, whether you're speaking to one person or a group of people.
And how it motivates you to
engage.
Be engaged. So
Yes.
are you going to tell me also that this hearing aid will shock your brain if you're not motivated enough?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just worried about, one
No.
AI and one thing more at a time we're getting, which is, it sounds like great stuff.
Well,
it kind of
it's
gives an
also-
idea of how somebody's routine is, and then it tries to figure out if you're out of your routine.
But how do you know what you're doing? Do you carry a little box with you that gives you all this information?
Everything's all in the hearing aid.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Does the hearing aid talk back to you?
Well, okay, so I have my iPhone.
Look at my
iPhone
watch.
And I can talk into my watch, and it tells me when I should stand up and when I should sit down, and that I'm not moving enough. It tells
Your
me
watch
that. My watch
Your
does.
watch
shock you,
does
though.
all that?
But it tells you that. Does it ring, or I didn't know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I can even
That's
talk
pretty
like
cool.
Dick Tracy like that.
That's pretty
with
cool.
my
You're
watch.
kidding me.
So your hearing aid will now do that as well.
Right. So now the hearing aid also will translate languages.
Get out.
Yes. So
I mean, I could go to
Yeah.
Japan with a hearing aid in and set it to Japanese, and it will translate as somebody's talking to me?
yes, it will translate it to English.
That's absolutely incredible.
Yesterday we did it with Spanish because most people speak Spanish.
Right.
And so
Whoa.
it will tell you in your ear what the person's saying.
Wow.
So they have to use the phone, though. You have to have a smartphone to
Okay.
be able to do all of this.
Oh,
Oh,
so
okay,
you.
okay.
So it's the
not
app.
the hearing aid.
It's the app on the smartphone.
Okay, so it goes from the hearing aid to the smartphone.
Well, the smartphone to the hearing aid. I don't know which one.
Oh, okay.
But we've been able to talk on our phones with hands-free for many years now, like at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Now. So now we have all these other things that we can do. So what it's basically, what I'm telling, the younger generation, which is who needs the hearing aids
That's
now, and
right.
I'm calling the younger generation between, I have 40-year-olds, 50, they say, oh, I'm too young to get a hearing aid. Well, hearing aids are not available anymore. What we have now are smart Bluetooth devices for your ears that help you hear better. So you can take care of everything all at once. And this was really exciting. But not only that, but it's not just these gadgets that do things automatically, but it's also the quality of the sound that's coming out. I mean, these people said everything. I put a pair on because I wanted to hear the translation of the languages. I really want a pair of these, and but it was so clear and crisp, and there were no like they were saying, I can't even hear the cars in the background. It's because it's not paying attention to all the noise. It doesn't have a lot of the circuit noise and the distortion.
Background.
It just has clarity. And anyway, it was so exciting
That is so
yesterday.
cool. But, isn't it then possible, Nola, that people will just be using a device, not just as a hearing aid, but for other things? And instead of just thinking, I'm going to get a hearing aid,
Right.
they'll say, I'll get a device that I'll be able to put in my ear. It will not only, translate for me, but it will also enhance my hearing.
Right.
That is so cool.
And this woman came in yesterday too, and she had severe tinnitus. Like, it was so loud, and it was really bothering her. And she didn't even have that much of a hearing loss. She had just a little bit of a high frequency loss, but she was saying that she says what all the time. She keeps saying what. And so I said, well, let's just put a pair of these on you for a trial, and let's just see, because they say that when you have tinnitus, you can, 80% of the time when you put hearing aids on, it will take the tinnitus away while you have the hearing aids on. And then there are tinnitus features in the hearing aids, like maskers and Zen music and things like that, inside the hearing aids to calm the tinnitus down. And so she put them on, and she couldn't believe how, she said when people don't look at her and they have their back to her, she could never understand them. So I turned my back. She understood everything that I said.
Wow.
And then she said, oh, I still hear it just a little bit, but oh my God, it's so much less. And that was after putting it on for like 10 minutes, not even for a long time. So I'm so excited to see what happens when she gets back. So, as I get older and I'm thinking about, well, it's getting time to retire and everything, and all these new things come out, it's so exciting for me because I'm changing people's lives.
Yes,
and giving them back their quality of life so they can have their socialization, and they can even measure their socialization and how much they're socializing. So it is so exciting. I'm finally doing what I've dreamed about doing for so many years, and that's really helping people and changing their lives, just watching them. This kid, I had him since he was 7. He's 34 now. He wrote me, and he wears hearing aids all the time for his whole life. He wrote me on Instant Messenger last night how thankful he is that these are the best pair of hearing aids he's ever had, and that he thanks me for taking such good care of him all his life.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you the best part. So he moved to Pismo Beach. But the mom's sister still lives here, and his brother still lives here. So they come down here quite often for doctor's appointments. But, his hearing aid's not been working right, the one he had before this, for 3 weeks now or 4 weeks. Well, now with this hearing aid, it has telehealth built into it. So with a code, he hooks up to my computer. And now from Pismo Beach, if he's having a problem with his hearing aid, I could adjust it from my computer.
Wow.
Oh,
in my
my
office.
goodness. That's incredible.
So that is why I also put that on him yesterday. I changed him. He had just gotten a new pair, but I changed him from those to these because now I can have the convenience of him not having to come into the office, and I can actually program his hearing aids and adjust them for him.
That's
when
incredible.
He's having a problem.
Absolutely incredible.
But, technology, Nola, has made a huge difference in your ability to give the care that you're giving and be rewarded by it.
Yeah.
But what you're telling us right now, we're both sitting here with our mouths open going, wow, this is great stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know about this, but, you do. You're on the edge. You're on that wave, that tsunami that's going to hit us soon, but you're on that edge. I mean, how you can, in a technical way, make some YouTube videos or something to say, this is what's going on now. This is why, the technology, if you don't believe in your hearing deficit or your tinnitus or, the problems that you've been having, believe in it now and try to get it fixed so that your communication skills will improve, your quality of life will get better.
Right.
You should have somehow figure out a way through our studios here or somewhere to let the public know, because I've never heard of this. I mean, I read technology. I mean, I get magazines that are pretty upper echelon, not just medicine, but technology magazines. And this I've not heard of.
Right.
And I think something like this should be put out there by you and
I
Steve.
put it
and your
on
company.
my Facebook page and everything.
Facebook,
but
not good enough. Corrupted.
But that's why we're on K-Hits Radio.
That's right.
And we're on the senior hour to be able
Speaking of the senior
to tell
hour,
people this.
we need to take a break. I've got old Eagle Eye over here watching me.
Okay.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Daurio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508. At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association is hosting our annual gala, The Art Classic, Saturday, September 29th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. This fundraiser highlights professionally judged original artwork by local artists in all mediums. For only $25, you can enjoy live music, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and meet the artists in person. The Art Classic will be held at Hart Hall in Hart Park. All artwork will be on display for free public viewing Sunday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit us at santaclaritaartists.org.
Olive Terrace Bar and Grill is the hottest new Mediterranean fusion restaurant in Santa Clarita with unique delicacies like seafood right off the boat, mouth-watering prime steaks, artesian sandwiches, delicious pastas, and tasty kebabs. Unwind on their cozy outdoor patio at their weekend champagne brunch, full menu, and weekly specials at oliveterracebarandgrill.com. Check out their full bar and happy hour daily specials in Valencia on Copper Hill and Newhall Ranch Road by LA Fitness. Olive Terrace Bar and Grill, delicious food seasoned with love.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Daurio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking with Nola Aronson of Advanced Audiology. And you mentioned the age ranges now are getting younger.
Right.
And you're thinking, starting with 40.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, for years, young people have been listening to radios with the sound so high,
Right.
it almost knocks you off your chair.
That's right.
Or going to concerts, too.
That's true. And even when I'm in my car, I'll hear this blaring noise when I'm driving, and I'm thinking, that poor young person is going to be deaf in 20 years.
Could be me.
Well, what
Because
my
of the
son used to
sound.
say,
Oh,
my son used to say, "Oh, Mom, there's your next patient riding by." But you know,
That's very
it's more
true.
of the iPods that really affected people's hearing because the earphones were right up against the eardrum. So that's more of it, because we all went to concerts when we were younger, and I don't have a hearing loss. I don't think you have a hearing loss. So
Robin
it's
says
not
I do,
just
but-
the concert. Yeah, well, you have a wife loss.
No, a wife plus found.
But anyway, it's not just concerts. But even if you shoot a gun one time when you're a kid, you go hunting with your dad or you go target shooting, just one time, without ear protection, that will show up when you're getting older.
Yep.
If you work around heavy equipment, that will show up. Even like my gardeners. Even my gardeners, the same thing with the blowers. Anyway, what I want to say is next week, the 11th and 12th of September, we are having an open house for another type of hearing aid also. Very, very good hearing aid by a company called Oticon. And Oticon's been around over 150 years, and they have this other wonderful hearing aid that is not complicated. It's a very simple type of hearing aid.
I wonder what those 150 years ago, those hearing aids look like. What, you need to bring some of those in.
I left my phone out there, and I forgot about the watch part. Anyway, So we're having an open house all day, but you need to make an appointment. So we are Advanced Audiology. We are located on Valencia Boulevard next to AAA in the Owen Patterson Century 21 building. And our phone number is 661-253-EARS, or it's 661-253-3277. And also know that we do free hearing screenings, so you can get a baseline to see where your hearing is at. That's where we do our education about all kinds of things like the tinnitus, like anything about your hearing. We're not just there to sell hearing aids. We're there to educate people about how to improve their communication skills and their social lives, and just so you have more knowledge about where you're at, because we get our eyes checked, we get our teeth checked, we get our heart checked, but nobody ever thinks about, should I get my hearing checked? No.
Now, what is the time frame for this open house?
Yeah, so it's from 9 to 6, or 8:30 to 6, I should say. We're closed for lunch between 12 and 2. So anyway, if you just call, we're giving away special pricing just for this event only. And I think we're giving away a George Foreman grill, too.
Oh, those are nice.
So,
So 253-EARS, 253-3277. Nola.
Correct.
Great information today. I'll tell you, AI, you guys are really into it. Put it on YouTube or somewhere so we can all take advantage. We're astounded and wowed today. Appreciate your being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology, Nola Aronson, and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour, now going enhance your quality of life.